That's me and Sean used to do that together. Chat too much. I don't even have anything.
Actually, sir, it doesn't matter. It's okay.
His presence first
Raise their blood pressure.
deterrent.
Oh, their blood pressure is going to be raised.
But you should always just have a sheet in your pocket. You know, it's kind of like living winter in South Dakota. You live outdoors. You always have a pocket set.
When I go up, they record this.
Good evening and welcome to the City Council meeting for Monday, March 16, 2026. We will begin with a roll call and determination of quorum.
Lehman. Maher.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Stroman.
Here.
Pettigrew. Sechrist. Bieberdorf. Tamang.
Here.
Evans.
Here.
Meyer. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next, we'll have an invocation by Pastor Ron McLaughlin, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are able and willing, would you please rise?
Pray with me. Father God, first of all, we thank you and praise you, God, that we get to live in Rapid City, South Dakota, in the Black Hills here. Lord, I thank you. I'm thankful for our mayor. I'm thankful for those that are leading here, our leadership, and that are serving our community. God, thank you for our first responders. We pray for protection for them. God, give everybody in this room tonight wisdom and discernment and direction. Lord, bless them abundantly, immeasurably more than they could think or imagine. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Now I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Got a motion by Tamang with a second by Evans to adopt. All in favor? Any opposed? The agenda is adopted. Getting my speaker request form situated here, just a second. Next, we will have a time for general public comment. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda, except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. It's a three-minute time limit. We will have the counter right above us here. Of course, with all comments tonight, we ask for respect and decorum in here, but I'm sure all of you get that already. We do have a couple of general public comments. We have several speaker request forms for the Summer Nights item later on in the agenda, so we'll get to that at that time. The first general public comment is from William Sean Wagner.
Good evening, everybody. 7 circles of love and protection. In the spirit of community safety, accountability, and the preservation of our shared future, these 7 circles of love and protection are hereby invoked to shield the citizens of Rapid City from the consequences of government overreach and physical misconduct. This serves as my 4th formal notice entered into the public record. A city government without integrity is a government in crisis. When those in power bypass the law to benefit themselves, they forfeit the trust of the people they are sworn to serve. I'm formally bringing the following to your attention, Rapid City citizens. I want you to know that your Rapid City government thinks you're dumb. They believe you won't notice or understand when they violate the laws that govern them. I'm placing the following facts on record. Constitutional violation per South Dakota Constitution, Article 12, Section 3. The state and its municipalities are strictly prohibited from granting extra compensation to any public officer, agent, employer, or contractor after a contract has been entered into. Null and void status. The Constitution is clear. Any contract or unauthorized raise given without express authority of law is null and void. The July 1st trigger. These contracts became null and voided on July 1st, 2025, the moment the first paychecks containing these illegal raises were issued. By accepting this compensation, the legal standing of those active contracts was terminated by operation of law. Lack of budgetary authority. These concerns are confirmed by Finance Director Daniel Ansel, who explicitly stated in June of 2025 that the current budget did not have the authority for these raises. The Rapid City government has failed to maintain the integrity required of public office. By giving yourselves illegal raises, you have broken the law and the bond with this community. Consider this notice a formal demand for transparency and a return to constitutional compliance. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Doug Hannerman. Doug, did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Yeah, Hanneman. Appreciate the time today. So we have a area in disrepair in between West Boulevard and 9th Street. And currently the curbs are dilapidated and basically missing. We have rebar that's needs to be bent over every year. I'm not gonna bore you with all the details. I did show Public Works, the Director of Public Works, what it looks like, what the status is currently right now. All of our sidewalks are, right now, they're falling away because we have no curb and gutter there to hold it, to support it. It's been like this for over 35 plus years, and it's due. When we had the improvement done on St. Pat, which was welcomed, that caused an influx of traffic, over volume of traffic coming through the area, all the heavy equipment and whatnot, and that's when it really went south. So currently we have infrastructure that's being impacted by that, whether it's sewer, which we've had feces in our basement, other people's feces in our basement because of how old, it's the old Orangeburg pipe. Just the infrastructure is old and dated, and it needs to be remedied. We have so much of the community that comes to that area, parks on that street right there, gets in and out, walks their dogs, just walks around the neighborhood, enjoys that area, enjoys Wilson Park, enjoys the boulevard, but yet the status of it and the basically your ability to get in and out of your vehicle is at your own risk. It's a really dangerous area right now. So I'm looking at over $20,000 in sidewalk repair right now that the city, I'm sure, will be coming to me to say, hey, what's going on here? And all I can do is point at the curb and say, what do I do? So the neighborhood is getting together right now. We have quite a few of us that have had issues in the past. In order to do this, it's a bigger project because it does require the infrastructure, the curb and gutter, and sidewalks, and then of course the street. So if I could get maybe an opportunity, I did discuss it with the Director of Public Works to get something moving here. He said that it's not even really on the radar. I was told a couple years ago when the improvement was being done on St. Pat that a couple years down the road we'd be up. So I contacted them a couple years later and they said, you're not even on the radar. So I understand there's a lot of streets that are in disarray right now. I would like to get this one pushed forward. So if you could take that into consideration, I think Kaylee's gonna back me up on this and she's gonna work to full effort to try and get you guys to move a little bit.
Okay.
So appreciate that.
Thank you. We'll have our Public Works Director stay in touch with you about your project, okay?
I greatly appreciate
All right.
that.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you doing that.
Streets LiDAR for you.
All right.
LiDAR that street.
I have one more speaker request form. Leanne S. Leanne, I can't make out the last name. I'm sorry.
Schumacher.
Oh, Schumacher. Okay. Thank you.
I'm Leanne Schumacher. I sat on a council from 97 to 06. I'm here because I am concerned about the direction of our council is moving forward, allowing people who have moved here from other states, which are sanctuary states, who do not have a long investment interest upon our city. And I'm referring to state-born citizens. As I shared my concern in previous meeting about State Representative Taffy Howard's misleading our local constituents of the developers allowing to believe the 125 million tax subsidy line without the full context. Representative Taffy Howard had misled the constituents to believe it was a blank check for developers, and you had not corrected the record. You allowed lies to be spread, and you had allowed State Representative Taffy Howard to push that it was a theme park, when in reality it was an entertainment district. and State Representative had also pushed the misleading lie about the trailer park on 143rd would be used as parking lot and people would have to move their trailers. So why would you approve a TIF, not once, but twice, and then pull the rug out from under the developers? Why would you promote bad business when you are to be representing the constituents? So, PLS has had one previous TIF with the fire station on Tisch Boulevard. And so that, talk about the 21 TIFs you have given to Hani Shafi. He is not a local. I believe he is a Palestinian, formerly from Gaza. I'm concerned about your choice to be prejudiced against Liberty Land, 2 red flags showing your opinions being swayed by someone or something. I know he has sued the city and has played the race card, and yet you continue to give him TIFs who do not show the city he has good intentions for our city. I'm wondering why you would tear down a substantial amount of given income.
Ma'am, I'm going to ask you to not speak on private citizens, but just keep it on the topic, please.
To our city and settle for a $5,000 tax on ag land. Another red flag, you do not have the constituents' interest in this job, does not have to be educated to hold, it requires common sense. And you are working for the people and not yourself. I have spoken to someone in the other business office and had asked if they do business with Flooring America. Answer was yes. Called them, asked them if they did work with Dream Design. Answer was yes. So my next thought process was, someone has a relationship with Hani. I would say this is a conflict of interest to keep giving him TIFs
All right,
and
ma'am.
had posted on
Time
my.
is up.
Good.
Thank you. That will conclude general public comment, and we will move on to non-public hearing items 1 through 28 and open public comment for items 1 through 25. I have no speaker request forms for items 1 through 25, so we will close the public comment and move to consent items 1 through 25. Would the council like to approve the items or pull any item for separate consideration? Councilor Tomei.
Number 20, please.
Number 20. All right. Councilor Stroman.
Thank you. 8, 9, and 18, please.
All right, 8, 9, and 18 for Councilor Stroman. Any other items from the council? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve items 1 through 25 with the exception of 8, 9, 18, and 20. Motion by Maher with a second by Bieberdorf. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8. Authorize staff to advertise bids for Bocce Complex Phase 3, project number PR25-6205. Estimated cost $900,000. Councilor Stroman.
Thank you, Mayor. And I believe that this is a continuation of the project that was begun from the Vision Fund that was allocated towards the Bocce Complex. But I wondered if I could inquire of Parks Director Biegler, just to make sure that I'm right on that.
Yes, for the answer to that, we'll go to Parks Director Jeff Biegler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the Vision Fund portion of this project. The other phases were conducted by private donations, and so this is the project that was pitched and received funding through the Vision Fund for the restroom, the additional upgrades to that site to complete it.
Okay, and so what's out there now, that was not Vision Fund money, that was actually private donations, is that
Correct.
right?
Yes,
Great.
that's correct.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve item 8. Motion by Roberts with a second by, who is that down there? Maher. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 9, authorize staff to advertise bids for Knollwood Park redevelopment, project number PR23-6192, CIP number 51458, estimated cost $2,700,000. Counselor Stroman, right back to you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'll go right back to Director
right.
Biegler if I can, just for explanation, because I think this is a great project, just like the Bocce project is. And I just would like a little bit of clarification on it.
Very
Yes,
good.
Mr.
Thank
Beck.
you. Yes, this is a project that actually received some vision funding from the previous round, not the current one that was just approved here a year or so ago. And so this is a project that will add walking paths, restroom, play equipment, and a lot of good amenities there to provide that part of town some nice park facility. I think it's something that's sorely needed up there, and it's an idea that's been a long time in the conceptual stages, and we are certainly ready to move forward on it now.
Great, thank you. And I do believe that Councilman Roberts and Lehman have been pushing this, and so I appreciate that. I think this is also a very worthwhile project for us and a much-needed improvement in that area. Thank you. I yield.
Yes. Speaking of Councilor Roberts, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, and I just wanted to bring this up a little bit. I think we've been working on this, Jeff, for about 7 years, if I'm correct, 6 or 7 years. It's been a long time. It's been a long time in the works. We've had a lot of good input from a lot of people. It's turning out, I think it's going to be a great project, not only for the neighborhood, but for a lot of the people at the city, including the PD. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of lighting. There's going to be a lot of, you know, there's a lot of foot traffic in that area right now. This will put them on actual paths and walking trails. And I think there's a little bit of work that'll be done on the drainage. I mean, it just has a whole lot of positive influence in that neighborhood itself. So long process, nothing comes quickly in the city. I think we all know that. But I am very, very excited that it's actually going to be breaking ground next spring. So thank you very much, everybody that was involved.
Yeah, great project. So who would like to make the motion to approve this item? We got a motion by Sechrist with a second by Roberts to approve. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 18, authorize mayor and finance director to sign broker services agreement with Marsh McClellan Agency for insurance broker services for March 17, 2026 to June 30th, 2027 in the amount of $100,000. Councilor Stroman, you pulled this item.
Thank you, Mayor. And this, as I understand it, is a broker that's going to help us try to obtain favorable quotes on various insurance policies that the city has to carry, and also get favorable coverage and also quotes. I'm a little concerned initially that we would spend that much money when I think that it's a pretty competitive market out there, and I think there are agents or brokers that I know anyway that would be happy to take a shot at that without paying them for $100,000. So I'd like to ask if the HR director, I think she's in charge of this, if Amber could address that real quick.
Will do. With that, we'll go to the HR director, Amber Cornella, once she chimes in. There we go.
Yes, thanks for the question. We did do a competitive bid last spring, and we ended up interviewing and getting proposals from 4 different brokers. Marsh McLennan was one of the top 2 for competitiveness. They serve the state of South Dakota and many cities in South Dakota, including Watertown and Aberdeen and Brookings. So they're well versed in serving municipalities. And this is actually already included in the budget because we previously entered into an agreement with a different broker. This is just a request to switch brokers because the broker we've been using had over 200 employees depart at once in December, and we feel that Marsh McLennan is better suited to support our needs now.
Thank you. It's certainly a name that's been around for a long time, so thank you for that explanation. I yield.
Okay. We'll entertain a motion for that item. Motion by Bieberdorf with a second by Tamang. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 20, approved declaring emergency repairs for city server room. Councilor Tamang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I'm sure everyone's aware we had some equipment malfunction, and it sounds like the IT department did a pretty great job kind of MacGyvering things together, so we appreciate all that and your detailed explanation of all that. There was just some questions I think the council had that kind of percolated to me and some others, and you had touched on it in legal and finance, and I guess the request was that maybe some education for the council would be in order if you could potentially put together some information on kind of what we currently have, kind of the switching costs that might be involved going to a cloud-based system, just to see as I think you explained quite well, it would be more expensive for us to go towards that direction. But there was some views that maybe we should have a greater insight and understanding from that standpoint. So of course, I think all support and approve this, but we would just hope to get more information on the switching costs associated and how you might see that as an optimal state down the road. Thank you.
Did you want to hear from the IT director on that?
If he wishes.
All right. With that, we'll go to Jim Gilbert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So first of all, it wasn't just the IT department. We had a great deal of help from maintenance to get portable coolers in there to meet the needs. Server equipment, networking equipment all puts off heat, and we have to keep that room at an optimal temperature range between 68 and about 72, 73 degrees. So there's always cooling when you have rooms like that. In terms of the possibility of moving to the cloud, we have some progress in there for things like email and stuff, but all departments, all buildings have IT needs that require cooling. Even if you move everything to the cloud, you still have to have a bunch of networking equipment that generates heat. In fact, the more you move to the cloud, the more you compensate with networking equipment. But also we have things like camera servers. Every day we move, we back up between a change of about 40 to 70 terabytes of data, but we have camera servers that move almost a petabyte of data. And to store that in the cloud would cost far in excess of our city's budget year to year. So we'll always have some storage, some needs here that will have to be cooled to this degree.
We have Councilor Evans in the queue.
Thank you, Mayor. Even before I spoke with Mr. Gilbert today about this topic, a couple council people had asked me to do research because this IT stuff is kind of a hobby of mine. And I discovered that even not accounting for the photo storage from the cameras and everything, the video storage, it could cost anywhere from 10 to 30 times just with our normal business to use cloud services to store the amount of data we use. And that was before I got some of the other information for him. If we were a smaller community, it's a real possibility, but it's not like a business when you've got, 100,000 people dialing in all the time and using data and everything else. So I think us keeping our own servers is important because it's far cheaper than letting it all out. Of course, people love to have everything on subscription, but how's that working out for cable TV? Everybody's finding out it really costs a lot of money when you start paying these subscriptions. So I think our IT people have done a very good job of covering this, and we should go with the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Tamang with a second by Stroman to approve. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to the end of consent items. We move on to non-consent items 26 through 28 and open public comment. For items 26 through 28, have no speaker request forms for those items, so we will close the public comment and move on to item 26, second reading of ordinance number 6707, regarding supplemental appropriation number 1 for 2026 in the amount of $3,923,272.47. Motion by Sechrist with a second by Tamang. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 27, first reading of ordinance number 6708, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by Christopher and Jody Smith for a rezoning request from general commercial district to medium density residential district for property generally described as being located at 810 Fairview Street. Motion by Roberts, second by Sechrist to approve. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 28, a request by Jim Steele for FamVest Properties LLC for a preliminary subdivision plan for lots A, B, and D of Lot 9 of Chambers Section 4, Southeast Quarter, generally described as being located at 3317 Stone Drive. The recommendations to approve with stipulations. Got a motion by Roberts to approve with stipulations with a second by Maher. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to the consent public hearing items 29 through 30. Would the council like to remove any item for consider? Stand by. Going back. I skipped over public hearing. Everybody wants to talk on this topic. Public hearing items 29 through 30. We will open the public hearing for items 29 through 33. Excuse me. And I do have several speaker request forms for item 29. And what I'll do is I'll say the first person up and then the person on deck so that you can get ready. The first person is Julie Fry-Mueller, followed by Mike Mueller. So Julie. And as a reminder, you have 3 minutes each.
Before I get started, did you all get a copy of the map? Do I have to start already just for asking that? Thank you.
Right here.
So, thank you. I am Julie Fry-Mueller, and we've owned Roger Fry's Paint and Supply Building since 1987, somewhere in there. I just want to be a little bit brief. First of all, I would really like you to take this off the agenda. I mean, it's already on the agenda, but I'd like it to be put off if we can so that we can have some discussions about it. We just found out about this last week, so we've been in the dark. And I was shown a Summer Nights Facebook page that basically said cat's out of the bag now. And if I was kind of disappointed in reading all that I read. It was like it referred to, it seemed that the city was hiding this and Summer Nights was hiding this from downtown businesses. And because of the meeting last week, it was exposed. Renters, a lot of renters need to be able to have their clients easy access to get to see them. We have renters upstairs in our building, and they're extremely concerned about this because it's from my understanding, you guys are going to be putting all the picnic tables and the beer vendors right in front of our building. And they can't park there after 1 o'clock because you guys have resented all these parking spots for beer vendors and picnic tables. So this really negatively hurts our renters, and it negatively affects our ability to rent our building. Who's going to want to rent a building when you can't really operate on a Thursday? People who want this don't have financials involved in this. We pay property taxes, we pay employees, we provide benefits, all kinds of things that we do for the citizens of this, and Summer Nights will negatively affect that. And then we've requested before, last year when we went over this, to put it at Memorial Park. And one of the reasons they said they didn't want to is you didn't want to pick up all the garbage. Well, there's going to be garbage everywhere if there's going to be garbage in Memorial Park. And I have provided a map for you with another option of where you could possibly go if you want to look at that. That's why I'm requesting more time for this and for you guys not to make a decision tonight on this, because there's too many of us that were kept in the dark over it. So I guess that's about it. We are, how do we say, when I first looked at the original map, you guys had all kinds of parking blocks. You had it, from 5th Street all the way down Kansas City Street. And if we wouldn't have seen that too, and then if you wouldn't have changed it, that would have been a disaster for our parking lots and everything that we have. So we really need more time on this, and if you could put this off until we can all meet and have a reasonable conversation,
Thank you, Julie.
We'd appreciate it.
Mike, you're up next, followed by Karkoff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mike Mueller. I've been assigned property manager for 624 and 626 6th Street, which is the property that Julie was just talking about. One of her renters is working tonight and had a letter she sent me, so I'd like to read that to you, and you should have a copy in the packet as a supplement to my. So to the mayor and the members of the city council, I would be in attendance but have a client, so I'm writing as a local business owner to express serious concerns about the decision to relocate Summer Nights event to Kansas City and 6th Street area. While I fully support community events that bring people together and promote local activity, the current location creates several challenges that will negatively impact surrounding tax-paying businesses like mine. One of the primary concerns is parking and accessibility. The area simply does not have the capacity to handle the increased traffic and parking demand that comes with a large public event. Customers who normally visit nearby businesses will struggle to find parking or access storefronts, which can directly affect our ability to operate and serve clients. In addition, increased congestion, noise, and foot traffic may interfere with normal business operations during our busiest hours. Many of us rely on a calm, accessible environment for our customers, and this relocation risks disrupting the balance and potentiality of driving regular clients away. Due to parking space closures and the level of noise associated with this event, I will be forced to close my business every Thursday from 1 to 7:30. This is not a small inconvenience. Those hours fall during some of my busiest operating times. What makes the situation even more difficult is that this occurs during the peak tourism season, which is when many small businesses rely on increased traffic and appointments to sustain income for the year. Beyond these concerns, the relocation will have a direct financial impact on my business based on current scheduling and client patterns. I estimate this change could cost my business at minimum $1,000 or more per month in lost income. It would also likely cost me 20 hours of lost appointment slots due to this proposal. There's also concern about the risk of property damage, vandalism, or excessive trash behind the large events. Situations like this can create unnecessary cleanup, potential damage to business, and unwelcoming environment for customers. When business appear crowded, messy, or damaged, it can drive people away and create additional problems for those of us who work hard to maintain a professional and welcoming space. There are alternative locations within the community, such as the Monument Memorial Park area, that would be better suited for an event this size. That location offers significantly more parking and space, and it would allow the event to take place without interfering with existing businesses that contribute to local tax base year-round. I respectfully ask that the city reconsider the current placement of summer nights to explore alternative locations that can support the event without creating unnecessary hardships for local businesses. Community events and local businesses should be able to coexist in many ways that benefit everyone. Without thoughtful planning and local selection, I believe that a balance can absolutely be achieved. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Brianna Mendenhall, Free Your Mind Massage, 624 6th Street, Rapid City. Thank you.
Thank you. Carl, you're up next, followed by Ron Koth.
All right, thanks, Mr. Mayor. This is Carl Koth. I represent 601 Kansas City Street, and I own Hay Camp Brewing Company. And I'm going to be fairly brief. I'm coming up here. I'm feeling put in a very difficult position here because I spent quite a bit of time working with Summer Nights and city leadership and the business community trying to bring this the Summer Nights event back in a way that's sustainable. However, my experience is the parks permit was submitted while I was out of the country, and now I'm taken by surprise and disappointment that we're already at the alcohol permit stage. So I sent some emails inquiring about these moves. I didn't receive a reply, but really I'm wondering why this permit's been brought to vote without communicating all of its contents to the business and stakeholders. I think you're going to hear a lot about that, obviously, from what I'm seeing tonight. So all I'm asking here, again, is just bring in the impacted businesses and stakeholders to the table before we issue the parks permit. And let's just remove that item 29. Let's not vote on it. Let's not say no. Let's just move on. Let's move forward on this instead of killing it right now. Thanks. I'll yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Carl. Ron, you're up next, followed by Sandy Schwan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ron Koth. I'm a part of the ownership of 601 Kansas City Street. And I'd just like to reiterate a little bit of what I've been thinking about. We've heard a lot of messaging, recently in just the past few days about how Summer Nights is meant to be a community builder. It's meant to support local business. It's supposed to bring together people in a collaborative fashion. And I don't think that right now, the way it's structured, it's really supporting local businesses. With the proposed closures and access issues for customers, for all of the businesses that are within the proposed closure area, as well in particular for the businesses that are at 601 Kansas City Street. Some of those businesses are hospitality businesses, and they're open past 5 o'clock. They're open till 9 p.m. in the evening. I'm not sure if the people who are signing off on these permits or are promoting really have a good idea of the fine line between success and failure for small business. During that summer season, and for one of the businesses, Hay Camp Brewing, Thursday night is their busiest evening of that summer season, which they depend upon for that revenue that supports them all the rest of the year. So I think it's worth a significant reconsideration of where these events might be scheduled. There are other alternatives, such as has been suggested before, Memorial Park, as it was suggested back in December or January, December of 24 or January of 25, perhaps Main Street Square, or even in the worst case, or another case, at the far south end of the 6th Street corridor, where an impacted business would be minimized if it was located perhaps in front of the Performing Arts Center, where street closures wouldn't really have, a big impact. As far as, the community bringing together aspect of it, right now with the impact of these small businesses within that corridor, I don't think it's a community builder. As far as collaboration, you've already heard from some of the other speakers that this is kind of coming on very quickly. It's kind of a surprise to some degree, and it's basically, here's our permit, I hope you like it. We have enough empty places downtown, empty businesses. We don't need any more. We need to support that local business. So I'd sure appreciate your consideration in moving this to a location where perhaps the city has spent millions of dollars to develop venues and a place where it won't impact local business. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Next up is Sandy, followed by Alex Massa.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Sandy Schwan. I am the president of Rapid City Summer Nights. I live in Ward 3, and I'm a downtown business owner. As you've already been told, in the fall of '24, Summer Nights began to research different locations, and we were given a request from downtown businesses, mainly stating that they did not want the event to end, they just wanted it to move. In December of that year, the council voted that they would approve Summer Nights as long as we moved to a location that did not close Main or St. Joe Street. And we feel that we have actually found a location that met that criteria, at least in this footprint. Prior to submitting the permit to the Parks Department, and since submitting it, we have held phone meetings, in-person meetings with stakeholders, the mayor, several council members, Visit Rapid City, Main Street Square, and obviously the Parks Department, since they approved the permit to close the street. I distributed a flyer to everyone in the footprint where their doors were unlocked, and on the back of the flyer, it had my contact information, my name, my phone number, and my email address, along with the times that the street closures would occur. We are open to continued communication with all of the businesses in the affected footprint, as well as anybody else downtown that has questions or concerns that want to talk to us. We're also aware that because this is a new location and some of the footprint lays out differently than our previous footprint, we might have to make some adjustments after week 1 or week 2. We've already made some adjustments because we've walked and looked at the footprint and realized it wasn't exactly right. And I'm aware that you've been asked to postpone the vote, but right now we are 10 weeks away from Memorial Day, and our permit kicks off the Thursday after Memorial Day. We have contracts to be signed, we have equipment that needs to be ordered, and we just need to move forward or be done. I'm available later if you have any additional questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex, you're up next, followed by Nathan Harding.
Good evening, Council. I live on the block where the proposed Summer Nights stage would be located, the Block 5 apartments. And I also work in suite number 9 of the Mothership building at the corner of 6th and Kansas City, the exact location currently being proposed for this stage. That block includes one of the densest residential buildings downtown, housing roughly 140 residents. It is also where I run youth mentorship and music programming for high school students through a local nonprofit during the summer months. Over the past several days, I spent several hours speaking with council members about this proposal, and I appreciate the time many of you took to have these conversations. During those discussions, I was surprised to hear that some members were not aware of the level of concern being raised by residents and businesses on this block. Those concerns have been raised repeatedly over the past several months, which suggests the information reaching council and the information reaching the public may not always be the same. I also want to be clear that many of us, myself included, support Summer Nights and want to see this event succeed in Rapid City. The concern is not the event itself, but the location and the process that brought us to the current proposal. For months, nearby businesses attempted to work with the organizers to find reasonable compromises. Hay Camp Brewing proposed selling their beer at Summer Nights so the event and surrounding businesses could benefit together. Other ideas, including coordinating operations, sharing equipment resources, and even involving my nonprofit in helping curate musical acts that would broaden the range of performers and include youth participation. These were good faith efforts to make the event stronger while reducing disruption to the block. None of these compromises were accepted. The current proposal places a large amplified stage directly in front of a residential building and several small businesses that rely on normal access during the busiest part of the summer. For the nonprofit programming I run, this would mean canceling an entire series of Thursday sessions that have already been scheduled and promoted to local high school students. In practical terms, the current plan asks us to cancel youth programming so a stage can be placed on this block. Many of us were also surprised to see a public announcement about this plan before the council had the opportunity to fully hear the concerns of the residents and businesses most affected. Major changes to downtown operations should not appear finalized until the people most affected have actually reached an agreement. If the outcome is perceived as already decided before these concerns are addressed, it risks making public input feel symbolic rather than meaningful. This block already supports housing, small businesses, and youth programming. Placing a stage directly in front of these things without agreement from the people affected creates unnecessary conflict. Community events should bring people together. They should not force residents and businesses to pick sides. I respectfully ask the council to pause the current proposal and ensure that any plan moving forward protects residents, existing businesses, and the community programming already taking place on this block. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Nathan, you're up next, followed by Jason Kingsbury.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Nathan Harding. I own Heroes and Villains in Rushmore Coin, which is in Suite 6 and 7 of the Mothership Building right next to Hay Camp. And I am in a direct effect of this. And my concerns are just kind of reiterating what some of you have already heard, is that the process of kind of getting this all going is just kind of a little too quickly for me. And with that being said, if some of this stuff goes through and gets approved, it's hard for me to even want to, I have to start considering whether I want to keep my business downtown or not. I've been working downtown for 15 years. I've owned my business for 9 downtown. I love being downtown. I love Rapid City, but it seems like we keep coming back to this type of situation where small business owners and things don't understand quite what's going on and things are moving too quickly. So those are just things that I have to consider. I'm not trying to say shut Summer Nights down or anything. I think Summer Nights is a great event and can be revived as a great event. But I just think this is all happening too quickly. I think the parks permit went through way too quickly, whereas we had a couple meetings with them and stuff, and then, as Carl stated, as he happened to be out of town or out of the country on vacation, then the parks permit goes through and gets approved. It could just be a coincidence, but that kind of stuff, it just seems odd to me. And as far as me speaking with my business of whether or not I want to continue keeping my business downtown, my lease is up in September, so I'll be making those decisions kind of based on how this continues to move forward. And I'm just trying to do what's in the best interest of my business, my employees and their families. I'm not opposed to Summer Nights. I just think there's a way that we can work it all out a little better. So I'm just asking that you take it off the agenda today, item 29. I'll yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason Kingsbury, you're up next, followed by David Goodwin.
Hello, I'm here to discuss item 29. I'm a Ward 1 personal and business, although my business reaches all wards of Rapid City. My name is Jason Kingsbury, and I've owned small businesses in Rapid City since 2014. At the core of my personal and business principles are community, service, and collaboration. The industry of craft beer, which I am deeply ingrained in, also follows a similar ethos. I am not here to oppose Summer Nights returning to downtown. I believe at its core, Summer Nights has value to our community. What I am here to question is, where are the alcohol vendors going to be placed between the 600 block of 6 and the 500, 600 block of Kansas City? I've requested this information from the city, but nothing has been produced to me, which seems very odd as I have filled out multiple special use permits, and I know how difficult and specific they are. This is extremely important to me as a collaborator, as it has the possibility to deeply scar one of my customers and peers, Carl Koth at Hay Camp Brewing Company. Without a doubt, other small businesses will be affected by this, yet Hay Camp will be in direct competition with Summer Nights as an event and as a beer venue. I urge the council to postpone the special permit vote tonight until more collaboration can occur. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is David Goodwin, and that is the final speaker request form I have.
Hey, good evening, Mayor, City Council staff. My name is Dave Goodwin, representing Summer Nights. I believe they're going to put the graphic up here shortly. What I want to present to you tonight and just talk about is our footprint. What was submitted originally was kind of just a rough guess on looking at aerial photography on where we would move our existing footprints into this new space. So this first slide just kind of shows you, and it actually answers the previous speaker's questions, where the beverage trailers will be placed. On this graphic, it's a little hard to see, but numbers 1, 2, and 3 up there you can see as our beverage trailers. The food vendors are up towards the top of the map there. You can kind of see our east and west bounds with the yellow, and then the blue dot in the middle would be our entry points where we check IDs. And obviously the stage there in front of Hay Camp, tucked in past the crosswalk. And then another question that we seem to be getting a lot, if we can go to the next slide, is just the street closure time. So I just wanted to kind of clarify, we've heard some speculation that 1 o'clock was a street closure time, and we're actually planning for 3:30 and 5 o'clock. So everything in blue would be 3:30, and then 5 o'clock would be orange. So pending any questions to this, Mayor, Council, I'm available for any questions or any dialogue on this, but I'll yield my time. We just wanted to show that map and that the 1 o'clock time frame was not true. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. And that will close the public hearing for items 29 through 33, and we move on to consent public hearing items 29 through 30. Would the council like to remove any item for consideration? Councilor Evans.
Number 29.
All right, 29. All right, otherwise I'll entertain a motion to approve item 30. All right. Councilor Maher made the motion to approve item 30 with a second by Tamang. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to item 29, Rapid City Summer Nights for special permit on sale malt beverage licenses for events scheduled for May 28th, June 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th, July 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 23rd, and 30th, and August 6th, 13th, 20th, and 27th of 2026 at the 600 block of 6th Street and 500 and 600 block of Kansas City Street. And we'll start with Councilor Evans.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm finding it a little bit difficult to believe that this city and all the parties that are involved in this are incapable of coming up with a solution after all this time that doesn't somehow hurt somebody. Now, it's really easy to say it's all well and good, but if you're a business that's investing your entire year down there, your money, your time, I have to side with them over a temporary thing. So I'm not going to support this vote tonight. Now, I believe there could be a solution out there that does not cause some parties to suffer some ill consequence. I just believe there's got to be a solution that we can come up with that does that. But unfortunately, every time we come up with one of these solutions involving this, somebody has to pay a price. And I don't think that's right. Now, one of the sites that I think has never been investigated, which maybe now that Elevate is going to be purchasing or has already purchased the Assurant building, the big high rise down there, and I believe that is going to be taking place if it hasn't already. That's a giant parking lot. 7th Street next to it is 1 block exactly north of where it's been located the past few years, Summer Nights. And then the city also owns that 1/4 block parking lot that is on the west end of the Northwest Storage Building. So I can't believe that site's never been explored. It's easily way bigger than the amount of space that we've been using. And I can't believe that one bank that sits there in the midst of that couldn't be convinced that would be good. I would also think the backdrop of an 8 or 9 story building there would allow light shows and other things to take place behind the stage. I think it could be a great location, but it's never been talked about that I know of. And as far as I know, I don't think anybody would be opposed to that. So I would say we explore that rather than just
go ahead and rubber stamp this and have a bunch of people mad. Any project's going to be more successful when you don't have people in opposition. And if we were to do something that had everybody acting in complete harmony, I think the success of Summer Nights would be more guaranteed, in fact, expanded. And I think it could become a real asset to the city. So I want it to take place, but I think we need to find a solution that doesn't hurt somebody. Thank you.
Next up, Callie Meyer. Councilor Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the Parks Department for their patience throughout this process, and I also want to thank everyone who shared their perspectives very respectfully, regardless of where they stand on the issue. The topic of Summer Nights brings out strong feelings on both sides of the issue, and no matter what decision is made tonight, some group is going to walk away unhappy, and that's really hard. Conversations about Summer Nights have been happening for a few months, and I've been really impressed by the dedication to flexibility and willingness to adapt by the Summer Nights team. And I'm also really grateful to the stakeholders who've been in some of these conversations, who really approach the meetings and discussions with an open mind, and they remained curious, and they did not dismiss it outright, so I really appreciate that. I think the question about the location seems really simple on paper, where we could pick it up and move it somewhere else. But I mean, I think each potential site has its trade-offs, and I don't personally want to put the event on, so I kind of defer to the people who do put it on. And I don't know that we'd ever really find a location that receives unanimous community support, but the proposed site meets the most important request, which was to avoid the closure of Main and St. Joe. In every decision, you have to weigh the pros and cons, and in this case, there are a lot of known positives. And I think for me, the known positive is this brings people together, and there's a lot of joy and connection. And I think in a world where a lot of things are divided, I think we need to find more opportunity for events to bring us together, and I think we need more real connection. I think if I see another AI generated image, I'm going to lose my mind. I don't want to see fake content. I don't want fake memories. I want people to get together in person, and I think if we're able to do that, we can help fight against some of the divided nature we see. So I think Summer Nights does provide an opportunity for connection and joy and togetherness, and I think those are some really valuable benefits. But on the other side of the coin, this location does potentially have some inconveniences, and something I've been sitting with is the idea that inconvenience is the cost of community, and I think this could be an opportunity to strengthen community. But with that in mind, I know that inconvenience and harm are two different things. And I think if we had a laundry list of known harms, confirmed things, if we could see into the future and know what the harms would be, that could be different, but I think we have potential harms. So I think my vote tonight is going to be decided by the known good and the joy that this event will bring, coupled with the confidence that Summer Nights will rise to the occasion and mitigate issues ahead of time. And I also think that they will need to adapt throughout the season if issues arise. I also think the community will need to come together to support this in all of downtown. I think when this issue was last presented, some people decided to boycott downtown businesses, and I don't think that's okay. I think punishing your neighbors for being brave and speaking out on some difficult dialogue is not productive. So I know my vote isn't going to align with some people want to see, and some of those people I even consider friends, so this is not easy, but I'd like to believe we can see things differently and still move forward. So I think no matter what tonight's outcome is, I just encourage us to all lay our weapons down and come together as a community and show kindness and respect, which might seem doe-eyed or cheesy, but I think we need to actively choose the type of world we want to live in, and I'm going to choose joy. So if you don't agree with tonight's outcome, you have, I believe, 8 days to file your petitions for City Council. So with that, I yield.
Councilor Bieberdorf.
Thanks so much for the feedback, and I would just agree. Thanks for the civil comments on both sides. Can I direct a question to Mr. Biegler?
Absolutely.
It seems like every time we do this, there's a side that thinks the city's doing something nefarious, that this happened while somebody was overseas, or that we just did this last week in the back room. And that's always frustrating to me because from my time in the council, nothing is done nefariously. Could we communicate better sometimes? Could you speak to the process of how we got here with the permitting?
Yes,
Director Beekler.
thank you. Yes, we were approached by Summer Nights, who wanted to revive this festival, and the folks from Summer Nights, along with Alderwoman Meyer, were interested in this going back downtown, and so they worked hard, making a very great attempt to contact the business owners in the affected areas. At the time that this permit came in for approval, we were all under the impression that the downtown businesses in this area were generally in favor of it. And we knew that they could not receive a special event alcohol permit until they received the special event permit itself. So that's the process that this takes. So we approved the permit so that then they would be able to take the next step and come for the alcohol permit. But I do want to tell you that we at the Parks Department had no knowledge, and I'm sure that Mr. Koth will agree that we had no idea that he was out of town. There was nothing nefarious or in the timing of this whatsoever. So that I just want to state unequivocally.
Thanks so much. And if I could give my time to Ms. Meyer, if you could just explain to us if the people downtown, if the conversations that happened that you're aware of, that this didn't happen last week, that we've had these discussions, and I'll yield. Thank you.
Okay, so you're yielding the rest of your time to Callie Meyer. Councilor Meyer, you have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the question. No, conversation started in November. I think it was very important to kick this off. I mean, I feel like November is early, and I guess I would have to defer to the Summer Nights team on when discussions happened within that footprint. I mean, I do think there's a lot of businesses in that area, and I don't necessarily think it was malicious if there was someone left out, but I would defer. May I direct a question to Summer Nights?
Sure,
May I
take
take Josh's time in?
If they're willing to answer questions, yes.
So is your question about distributing the information, or?
Yeah, I think
Well,
just like some of that.
Yeah, we had a meeting with Carl, and at one point, a couple other people in his building. The original map that Dave showed you was just something we had put together the year before, because we had actually turned in a permit for that same location when we were looking for a new location in 2024. But because of the construction, that wasn't a viable option. And then the first meeting was actually with Callie and Ali Formanek at Visit Rapid City to talk about 6th and Kansas City again, about revisiting it. So then I contacted some of the businesses. Then like I said, I took the map that was probably hastily put together in 2024, but I delivered it with my contact information to everyone in the footprint where the door was unlocked. There were some issues with, there's a building, a very large building downtown that was in the process of being sold. And so the people I talked to were actually the previous property manager and/or tenants. And so there was some confusion there. But I went back after I realized there was some confusion about that and delivered more handouts to more people with, again, my contact information on the back. And I've also had phone conversations with the pastor at the Methodist Church and United Way, and I'd have to check my notes, but a couple other businesses in the area that called. Audras was one that called me with some questions and some concerns that I feel we worked out, but we've been really trying to make sure everyone knew. And some people probably did get overlooked, but part of that is because the nature of the office buildings is that they weren't always open when I went there, or maybe they were in a meeting in their own office because some of them are individualized offices, so they weren't available to talk to me. And whenever possible, I left extra handouts with my phone number so that they could distribute them to other people they knew in the footprint. We weren't trying to hide anything, but sometimes it's difficult to find people at the right time in the right place to talk to them.
Thank you. I yield.
Okay. Next up, Counselor Sechrist.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to speak to this. I really don't have a lot more to add from what Mr. Evans and what Ms. Meyer mentioned. I agree with both of them in certain points. In December of 24, we did task Summer Nights with finding a viable location. That didn't disrupt traffic on Main and St. Joe. And with that caveat that we weren't going to be a disruption to the rest of the business community. I want to thank Councilwoman Callie Meyer for her effort in working with Summer Nights and with our downtown business community to find a solution for this. We recognize as a council, I believe, that Summer Nights brings a lot of great things to the community, and it's truly a cherished community event that people really enjoy and want to see come back. And I myself want to see them come back, and had pledged my support to Callie if we were able to get the downtown business community in support of a location for this event. And so I'm likewise just really torn with this because I am really disappointed that we don't have more of our downtown business on board. I've heard from 8 to 10 concerned business owners in the footprint that are going to be directly impacted and surrounding areas. And so I just don't know that I'm in a position where I feel comfortable about supporting the permit tonight. I also don't know that it's going to do us much good to push this out, because I do know with respect to our event planners that this is a tremendous lift and effort, and there's a lot of planning pieces to this. And so, conversations have been happening since November. And I do want Summer Nights to come back. I think, as a community, we have so many locations that would be wonderful. I also understand that, it's a lot easier on paper to throw Summer Nights on a footprint on a map and think that it would work. But I know that there are known harms, that we have impacted our downtown businesses in the past. And, for a small business, 14 days is significant. A small nonprofit or a small business, and 14 event days is really big. It's going to impact those who are keeping our downtown vibrant and beautiful year round. And I just, right now, I'm going to have to side with the business owners on this. And that's where I'm at. Thank you.
All right, next up, Councilor Stroman.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to continue this for 2 weeks to the next council meeting. And if I can get a second, retain the floor.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Stroman with a second by Evans to continue to the next city council meeting. The floor is yours.
Thank you. First of all, I want to commend everyone involved that spoke tonight and has emailed us, and we do read your emails, even if we don't respond to them in writing. This has been a very constructive conversation tonight, and I am hopeful that with a little bit of time, we can continue to work together to a solution that works for more people than it currently apparently does. The people that want the continuance, every one of them said that they do not oppose Summer Nights, and they just want to have Summer Nights. I think everyone that's spoken tonight is in support of having Summer Nights. It's just, I think we need a little bit more time to explore some things, and I know that potentially causes somewhat of a consternation on the part of the Summer Nights planners, but I still think that the best thing at this point, everything I'm hearing from the council is everybody's conflicted too, so maybe a couple more weeks would give us some more time, and so that's what I would like to see happen. I yield.
Thank you. And Councilor Evans, back to you.
Yeah, I just want to point out before we vote that
over the last few months, you know, this council has not actually been the paragon of wisdom that we'd like to believe we are. And in a couple instances, we've been slapped down by the constituents. The 8th Street advocacy group was a good thing. We couldn't even vote on it because, as it turns out, with everybody in consensus, 70% of them were not. And also, I don't have to remind you about the Liberty Land humiliation. So I'm just thinking we need to be inclusive before we take any action and stop causing somebody to be the victim. Because I believe there's a solution out there where there doesn't have to be anybody that's victimized by this decision. I think summer nights could be a great thing. I kind of missed it last summer, to be honest with you, even though I got to drive home without a detour. But nonetheless, as long as you've got a city divided, some people thinking it's helping, others hurting, it's not going to be as successful as it's going to be if everybody is working together to make it a success. And I think the people that are opposed to this location would be more than willing to help make it a success if we find a location that is a little more agreeable to them. Thank you.
Councilor Tamang.
Thank you. I wanted to chime in due to the last point Mr. Evans made. I think it is kind of tough to get perspective on this, and I just want to share that, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months ago, whatever it was, when we were running for city council, I had an opportunity to talk to a lot of constituents. I literally hit the entire ward on all the voters, and one of the themes that came up overwhelmingly was they were mad about summer nights. We heard about property tax. That was number one. They had a couple of other little comments. The roads were like number 2. And summer nights was in that top 5. I probably heard it from 30 people just randomly. And so when you talk about the pulse, and then I know not all my colleagues appreciate social media, but if you evaluate the pulse on social, the constituents overwhelmingly want to see summer nights come back. And I have a feeling that we're not going to find another solution in 2 weeks. I don't think we're going to agree on another spot. I think they've been talked about ad nauseum, and so I think this is kind of it. And I have a feeling also that if we decide to delay it, it's very likely not going to come to a better place. So I think this is kind of the decision, and I think the majority of the constituents out there want it to happen. There is real harm. I talked to many of the business owners. The list that Lindsay brought up, I think, is right. There are small businesses that will be harmed financially. There was numbers that were displayed. There's substantial losses, so it's like it's a trade-off. But when you look at what the community wants, I'm highly confident that we're looking at a ratio of like a huge ratio of pro to negative, and I think this is the right spot. So I'm going to vote against the continuance, and I hope that we can come to a vote for approval tonight. Thank you.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do, council. We are going to first deal with the issue of the continuance. So it's a yes or no vote to continue to the next city council meeting. Depending on that, then we'll determine the actual alcohol license for tonight. We are going to do a roll call vote, Angie. So with that, we'll get going.
Maher? No. Roberts? Yes. Stroman?
Yes.
Seacrest? Yes. Bieberdorf?
No.
Tamang?
No.
Evans?
Yes.
Meyer? 4-4.
All right, before I break a tie here, I would like to have summer nights. I want to ask you a question about what a delay in 2 weeks looks like, because I am looking at doing the 2-week delay, but I would like to know how far, does that ruin your plans? Because I want to give opportunity to try to make things even better with the impacted business owners. So if you please.
I'm sorry, somebody behind me said point of order. I don't know what that's
all right.
about.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm asking the question before in my time.
It's going to cripple us. I don't know that it would end the event, but that's actually a decision I have to take back to the board. They put a great deal of time and effort into planning this, and as most of you know, it's an all-volunteer board. They have jobs, they have families, they have other community commitments, and we're asking them to spend time planning an event that may or may not happen. There's also considerations for porta potties and a dumpster and all the things we need to order that may not be available if we wait any longer.
But Sandy,
And-
in the 2-week time, do you think you could work with some of these business owners to try to adjust some of any, because you know that there's going to be some adjustments maybe need to be made, and they feel like there's a little bit more buy-in from the business community if we were to allow that 2 weeks?
Well, we can make adjustments. I'm not sure what adjustments we can make to the actual layout. It's either this location or we don't have time to plan another location, if that's your question. That is the end of summer nights, because financially we can't survive another year without a season. So if the continuance is for us to find another location, then the answer is no. A continuance is puts us out of business.
I think the continuation is, can we work towards even more reasonable accommodations within the existing footprint for the alcohol license to be at this location? Could you do some work in that 2 weeks with them for some reasonable accommodations? I'm hearing about like people with a massage business and things like that, or heroes and villains, and some of those that might be more impacted. That's what I'm asking. If it would be a detriment, would summer nights still exist if you waited 2 weeks? Is basically the heart of what I'm asking.
It's a very difficult question to answer because it depends on what accommodations we have to make. The street closure times are what they are, and we need time to set up. So we're not gonna be able to change the street closure times and still have a band ready to play at 6 o'clock. The layout of the street, we've adjusted it to some degree, but remember the street's narrower on Kansas City and 6th Street than they are on 7th and St. Joe. So we've already sort of shrunk it down, less vendors. The answer is we could survive for 2 weeks. I'm not sure there's any more accommodations we can make or changes we can make that are gonna make anybody happy, other than, from what I've heard from the people that spoke, the accommodation they want is for us to not use that location. And we don't have time to do that. So it just depends on what you're asking us. It's hard to answer it because
I'm trying to find out if the 2 weeks is going to be helpful or not.
It's not going to be helpful for us.
From your perspective. But Carl,
Right.
would you mind? I would love to ask you what that 2 weeks would do for you, if anything. Thank you, council.
So what are you directing me to answer as far as the
Basically, right now, the motion on the floor is to continue 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I want to know,
that's
do
what
you
I
think
asked.
progress could be made, or do you think you're pretty much going to be at the same place as you are right now in 2 weeks?
I do think progress can be made. I did submit one of my solution letters to all of you. That was just one of like 3 rounds. In that one, the direct costs to summer nights would have been less than or equal to their office costs for 2024 were reported on their Form 990, which everybody, all nonprofits fill out their revenue and income form, so you can see, anybody can see what's going on there. And I went in good faith trying to really find solutions to this problem, and they are there. So I do think we need 2 more weeks for them to come in. And these folks are all here because they feel taken by surprise. Like I said, I really feel put in a really difficult position here because I have been trying to work towards this, and now I have my business peers and summer nights and city leadership all frustrated with me. So that's fantastic.
Okay. Well, thank you both for answering the question. So tonight, what we're actually deciding is not the permit, but the actual alcohol license. And I think it would be good to go ahead. If I support, go ahead and vote no, and we have to address the alcohol license tonight. My expectation is summer nights to still work with the business community on reasonable accommodations. I'm talking about getting customers in and out and things like, and looking at those kinds of things. I think that'll be important. So I'll vote no on the continuance, which puts us to, we need a motion for the approval or denial of the permit. Got a motion by Tamang to approve. And second by Meyer. Okay. So the motion on the floor is to approve the permit. Angie, we're going to go back to you for a roll call vote.
Maher? Yes. Roberts? No. Stroman?
No.
Seacrest? Bieberdorf? Tamang? Evans? Meyer? 4-4.
Okay. Chair votes aye with the condition that you continue to work with these business owners for reasonable accommodations. Thank you. With that, that'll take us to the end of consent public hearing calendar and move on to the non-consent public hearing item 31 through 33. I do not have any speaker request forms for those items, so we will move on to item 31. Second reading of ordinance number 6704, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. A request by FMG Engineering for rezoning request from General Agricultural District to Office Commercial District. Property generally described as being located at 4550 Mount Rushmore Road. Motion by Bieberdorf with a second by Tamang. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 32, second reading of ordinance number 6706, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. A request by Sam Papendick for Gap Office LLC for rezone request from Light Industrial District to General Commercial District for property generally described as being located at 1104, 1114, 1118, and 1212 West Main Street. Motion by Seacrest with a second by Bieberdorf. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 33, resolution number 2026-021, a request by Renner Associates LLC for S/7 LLC for petition of annexation for property generally described as being located at 3050 Jolly Lane. Motion by Seacrest with a second by Tamang. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 34, with that, we'll go to the bill list and Finance Director Daniel Ainsley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The bill list for Main Street Square and Visit Rapid City total $348,784.73.
Okay. Got a motion by Roberts. Got a second by Maher. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with one abstention from Meyer. Item 35.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The remaining bills total $11,768,179.83.
Motion by Roberts with a second by Evans to approve. All in favor? Any opposed? Lindsay and Dr. Tamang, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Tamang with a second by Maher. All in favor? Any opposed? Are all in favor of adjourning? All right. Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.